What happens when the laughter is replaced by a dismissive shrug? When the eager questions turn into eye rolls? When the respectful tone you cherished gives way to constant interruptions, sarcastic backtalk, or even outright defiance from your own grandchild? It's a jarring, painful experience, isn't it? That moment hits you like a cold wave. This beloved child, this extension of your family, this source of immense joy, seems to be pushing you away, challenging you, or simply disregarding you. It cuts deep. It can leave you feeling bewildered, hurt, angry, maybe even questioning your own worth as a grandparent, wondering where that sweet connection went wrong. You pour your love, your time, your wisdom into these precious relationships, only to be met with behavior that feels like a slap in the face. Our initial reactions are often instinctive, perhaps mirroring how we were parented or how we dealt with our own children decades ago. Maybe a sharp word escapes our lips, a frustrated sigh, a lecture about respect for elders, dredging up comparisons to back in my day. Or perhaps we swing the other way, wounded and confused, withdrawing into a hurt silence, letting an unspoken tension build, thickening the air between us. We might complain to our own children, putting them in an awkward position, or simply retreat from interacting as much, fearing further hurt. But let's pause and ask ourselves honestly, do these reactions truly work in the long run? Does meeting defiance with anger ever truly foster genuine respect? Do lectures inspire heartfelt change, or just temporary compliance, or worse, resentment? Does pulling away mend the relationship, or does it simply allow the gap to widen, potentially irrevocably? The reality, as many of us have learned through painful experience, is that these common reactions often backfire. They escalate conflict, shut down communication, and erode the very foundation of love and trust we strive to build. It leaves us feeling helpless, stuck in a cycle of frustration and disappointment. So, what's the alternative? Do we simply throw up our hands and accept disrespect as the new normal? Do we let this precious intergenerational bond wither? Absolutely not. There is a more constructive, more effective, and ultimately more loving path forward. It's a path that requires us to dig a little deeper, to respond with intention rather than reaction, to blend firm boundaries with unwavering empathy. It's about understanding that the behavior we see is often just the tip of the iceberg, masking underlying needs, struggles, or developmental phases. It involves modeling the very respect we seek, building connection through shared positive experiences, and knowing when and how to collaborate with parents as allies. This isn't about finding a magic wand, but about embracing thoughtful strategies that can genuinely transform the dynamic, allowing you to regain not just respect, but a deeper, more resilient connection with your grandchild. If you're ready to move beyond the hurt and find ways to rebuild that bridge of mutual respect and affection, then let's explore these powerful approaches together. Before we can effectively address disrespectful behavior, we must first strive to understand its roots. Jumping to conclusions or assuming malicious intent rarely helps. Children and teenagers are complex beings navigating their own worlds, and their behavior, even when challenging, often stems from factors we might not immediately recognize. Think like a detective for a moment, observing the situation before drawing conclusions. When does this behavior typically surface? Is it more pronounced at certain times of the day, perhaps when the grandchild is tired, hungry, or overstimulated? Does it happen more frequently during transitions or when specific demands are placed on them? Is the behavior targeted specifically at you, or is it part of a broader pattern they exhibit with others, like their parents, siblings, or even friends at school? Understanding this context is crucial. What looks like defiance might actually be a symptom of anxiety, frustration with schoolwork, social difficulties, or even undiagnosed issues like ADHD or learning disabilities. Teenagers, in particular, are hardwired to test boundaries and assert their independence. Sometimes their attempts to individuate can come across as disrespectful, even if that's not their primary intention. They might be mirroring behavior they see online, among peers, or even sometimes within the family itself. Consider also the possibility of external stressors. Is the family going through a difficult time? Parental conflict, financial worries, illness, or a recent move can all create underlying tension that children absorb and sometimes express through challenging behavior. And, hard as it might be, we also need to honestly reflect on our own role. Could something we said or did, perhaps with the best intentions, have been misinterpreted or triggered a negative reaction? Are our expectations realistic for their age and developmental stage? Are we perhaps overly critical, or do we tend to lecture rather than listen? Empathy is key here. Trying to see the world through their eyes, remembering what it felt like to be their age with all its insecurities and pressures, can foster compassion. This doesn't mean excusing disrespectful behavior, but understanding the potential why behind it allows us to tailor our response more effectively. It shifts our focus from simply reacting to the behavior to addressing the possible underlying need or issue. Let's consider Margaret's situation again with her 14-year-old grandson, Leo, who had become sullen and dismissive. After learning from her daughter about his struggles at school and online, Margaret's approach changed dramatically. She stopped taking his curt answers and eye rolls personally. Instead of demanding proper respect, she focused on creating moments of connection without pressure. She knew Leo loved strategy board games, something they hadn't played in a while. She simply set one up on the table before his visit. When Leo arrived, looking typically withdrawn, Margaret just said casually, "Hey Leo, I dug out Settlers of Catan, thought we could play a round later if you're up for it." No pressure, though. To her surprise, Leo mumbled, "Okay, maybe." Later, as they played, the shared focus on the game seemed to lower his defenses. He started talking more, not about his problems, but about game strategy, his voice losing some of its earlier edge. Margaret listened, engaged genuinely in the game, and kept the atmosphere light. Towards the end of the visit, as they were cleaning up, Leo looked at her and said, almost under his breath, "Thanks, Grandma. That was okay." It wasn't a dramatic turnaround, but it was a significant shift. Margaret realized that by understanding his underlying stress and offering a shared low-pressure activity he enjoyed, she had subtly reinforced their connection and made it easier for him to be less defensive, which naturally led to more respectful interaction. Understanding became her most powerful tool, paving the way for connection rather than conflict. While understanding provides context, it is never a substitute for clear boundaries. Love and empathy do not require us to become doormats or tolerate genuinely disrespectful actions. Children thrive on structure and predictability, and knowing where the lines are helps them feel secure and learn crucial social skills. Setting boundaries is not about punishment. It's about teaching consideration, self-control, and the fundamental principle that all individuals deserve to be treated with respect, including you. If you don't establish and maintain boundaries, you inadvertently teach your grandchild that disrespect is permissible. So, how do we do this effectively? First, be clear in your own mind about what constitutes unacceptable behavior. This will vary for each grandparent, but common examples include yelling, name-calling, deliberately ignoring you, damaging property, physical aggression, or using overtly rude or insulting language. Once you are clear on your limits, the next step is communication. When a boundary is crossed, address it as promptly as possible, but crucially, do it calmly. Raising your voice or reacting emotionally often mirrors the disrespect and escalates the situation. Take a deep breath. Use a firm but neutral tone. Employ I statements to express how the behavior affects you rather than launching accusations. Instead of, "You're being incredibly rude," try, "I feel hurt when you speak to me in that tone." Instead of, "Stop interrupting me," try, "I need to finish my thought, please wait your turn." This focuses on the behavior's impact and your expectation, making it less about attacking the child's character. Keep it brief and specific to the behavior at hand. Avoid dragging in past incidents or delivering long lectures. "We don't yell in this house. Please use your inside voice," or "It's not okay to take things from my room without asking first." Consistency is absolutely vital. If a behavior is unacceptable today, it must be unacceptable tomorrow. Bending the rules sends confusing messages. If the boundary continues to be tested, there should be a clear, logical, and predetermined consequence that follows naturally from the behavior, not imposed arbitrarily in anger. "If you continue to interrupt me while I'm on the phone, I will need to finish my call in another room." Or, "If you choose not to put the game away nicely, we won't be able to play it next time." Explain the consequence calmly. The goal is to teach cause and effect, responsibility, and the understanding that actions have outcomes. This isn't about winning a power struggle, it's about guiding your grandchild towards more respectful and considerate interactions, ultimately strengthening your relationship by establishing a foundation of mutual respect. It demonstrates that you value yourself, and in doing so, you teach them to value you too. Consider George again, whose 10-year-old granddaughter, Maya, occasionally used sarcastic or dismissive tones when asked to help with small tasks, like setting the table. George decided he needed to address this directly, but calmly. The next time Maya responded to a request with an exaggerated sigh and a sarcastic, "Do I have to?" George didn't sigh back or raise his voice. He waited a beat, looked at her calmly, and said, "Maya, when you answer me like that, using that tone, it makes me feel like my request isn't important and that you don't want to be helpful. I need you to speak respectfully, even when you're asked to do something you might not feel like doing right now. Can you please try asking, 'Do you need help now, Grandpa?' or simply saying, 'Okay.'" He kept his voice even and focused on the specific behavior, the tone, and its impact on him, while offering a clear alternative. Maya mumbled an apology. Later, when he asked her to help clear the plates, she started to sigh, caught herself, and said somewhat grudgingly but without the sarcasm, "Okay, Grandpa." George acknowledged her effort with a simple, "Thank you, Maya. I appreciate your help." He knew it wouldn't change overnight, but by consistently and calmly addressing the disrespectful tone and reinforcing the expected behavior, he was actively teaching her respectful communication without resorting to anger or lectures, preserving the warmth of their relationship while upholding his boundary. Hand in hand with setting boundaries is the powerful act of modeling the respect we wish to see. Children are like mirrors, reflecting the behaviors and attitudes they observe most consistently. If we expect our grandchildren to listen attentively, speak kindly, and treat others with consideration, we must embody those qualities ourselves. Think about your own interactions, not just with your grandchild, but with their parents, your spouse, friends, and even strangers. Do you interrupt frequently? Do you raise your voice when frustrated? Do you dismiss others' opinions or gossip? Our grandchildren absorb these patterns, often unconsciously. Modeling respect starts with demonstrating active listening. When they speak, truly listen. Put aside distractions, make eye contact, show genuine interest. Even if the topic seems trivial, validate their enthusiasm or concern. Ask follow-up questions. Show them that their thoughts and feelings matter to you. Practice politeness consistently. Simple courtesies like please, thank you, and excuse me should be natural parts of your vocabulary. Admitting when you're wrong and offering a sincere apology is another powerful modeling opportunity. It teaches humility and accountability. Showing patience, especially when they are learning something new or struggling, is crucial. Avoid rushing them or expressing exasperation. Respect their belongings and their personal space. Ask permission before borrowing something of theirs, just as you expect them to ask permission for yours. Knock before entering their room if they are older. A particularly sensitive area is modeling respect for their parents. Never criticize or undermine their parents in front of them. Even if you disagree with a parenting decision, express your concerns privately and respectfully to the parents, not through the child or in their hearing. Children caught in loyalty binds between parents and grandparents often act out, and disrespect can be one manifestation. When your grandchild sees you treating their parents with courtesy and support, it reinforces the value of respect within the family hierarchy. Remember also your nonverbal communication. Does your body language convey openness and attentiveness or impatience and dismissal? Do you treat service staff with courtesy? Children pick up on these subtle cues. Let's look at Evelyn again and her grandson, Sam, who sometimes exhibited impatience. Evelyn realized she couldn't just tell Sam to be patient, she needed to show him. She made a conscious effort to be patient in various situations when he was around. If she was waiting in a slightly longer line at the store, instead of sighing or complaining, she might say, "Well, this gives us a few extra minutes to chat, doesn't it?" Or simply wait calmly. If Sam was struggling with a puzzle, she wouldn't jump in to fix it, but would offer encouragement like, "Puzzles can be tricky. Keep trying. You're doing great figuring it out." When Evelyn herself made a small mistake, like spilling a little water, she didn't get upset but calmly cleaned it up, saying, "Oops, accidents happen, no big deal." She was modeling emotional regulation and patience in everyday moments. Sam, witnessing this consistency, began to internalize the behavior. While he didn't become perfectly patient overnight, Evelyn noticed fewer dramatic sighs and foot-tapping incidents. He was learning, through her example, that patience and calm responses were the norm. By consistently living the values you wish to instill, you become the most persuasive teacher, shaping their character through demonstration, not just instruction. Now, let's talk about the glue that holds relationships together, especially through challenging phases, genuine connection fostered through quality time. While boundaries and modeling are essential for teaching respect, a strong emotional bond makes disrespectful behavior less likely to occur in the first place. When grandchildren feel deeply connected to, loved by, and enjoyed by their grandparents, they naturally want to please them and maintain that positive relationship. Quality time isn't just about being physically present. It's about being emotionally attuned and engaged. It's about creating shared positive memories that become the foundation of your bond. So, how do we cultivate this? It starts with embracing their world. Find out what genuinely excites them. Ask about their favorite games, music, YouTube channels, sports, or books. Show authentic curiosity, even if their interests differ vastly from yours. Ask them to teach you something. How to play a simple video game, use a social media app, or understand the rules of their favorite sport. This reverses the typical dynamic, empowers them, and shows you value their expertise. Plan activities you can enjoy together. This could range from simple things like baking cookies, playing cards or board games, reading aloud, going for a walk in nature, visiting a museum or park, doing a craft project, or simply sitting and talking over a snack. Tailor the activity to their age and interests. The goal is shared enjoyment and interaction. Make an effort to schedule occasional one-on-one time with each grandchild if you have more than one. This dedicated attention makes them feel uniquely seen and valued. During your time together, minimize distractions. Put your phone away unless it's part of the shared activity. Focus on them. Listen more than you talk. Ask open-ended questions that encourage them to share their thoughts and feelings. What was the best part of your week? What are you looking forward to? What's something new you learned recently? And crucially, practice abundant positive reinforcement. Catch them being good. Acknowledge effort, kindness, creativity, or any positive trait you observe. Be specific. Instead of just, "Good job," try, "I really admire how you kept trying even when that puzzle piece was difficult." Or, "It was so kind of you to share your snack with your sister." Positive attention is a powerful motivator and reinforces the behaviors that strengthen your relationship. Think about Arthur and his granddaughter, Chloe, 12, again. After bridging the gap through the fantasy novel, Arthur wanted to build on that connection. He noticed Chloe also enjoyed drawing. Though Arthur wasn't artistic himself, he bought a simple sketchbook and some colored pencils for his house. The next time Chloe visited, he suggested, "Hey, Chloe, how about we both try sketching something? You can draw whatever you like, and maybe I'll try sketching the bird feeder outside." They sat together, mostly in comfortable silence, drawing. Arthur occasionally asked Chloe about her technique or complimented her work. Chloe, in turn, offered him a few pointers. It wasn't about creating masterpieces, it was about sharing a quiet, creative activity side by side. Afterward, Chloe seemed more relaxed and communicative for the rest of the visit. Arthur found that these shared low-key activities, centered around her interests, were far more effective in building rapport and mutual respect than any amount of lecturing could ever be. Filling the relationship bank with these positive deposits makes it much more resilient when inevitable challenges or disagreements arise. It fosters a foundation of goodwill where respect can flourish naturally. Finally, despite our best efforts, understanding, setting boundaries, modeling, and connecting, there might be situations where a grandchild's disrespectful behavior persists, becomes particularly hurtful, or seems indicative of a deeper issue. In such cases, collaborating with the parents becomes a necessary and important step. This requires careful navigation, as interfering with parenting is a sensitive area. The objective should always be to approach the parents as partners and allies, focusing on the grandchild's well-being and finding consistent strategies together, rather than assigning blame or creating conflict. Choose the right time and place for this conversation. Avoid bringing it up impulsively during a stressful moment or in front of the grandchild. Request a private, calm time to talk with your child, the parent. Begin the conversation gently, using I statements and expressing your feelings and observations non-judgmentally. Frame your concern around the grandchild's behavior and its impact, and your desire for a positive relationship. You might say something like, "Michael, I wanted to find a quiet time to chat about something that's been on my mind regarding young Emily. I adore her, as you know, but I've noticed during recent visits she seems to mention specific behavior, e.g., frequently talks back quite sharply when I ask her to do something simple. It makes me feel a bit sad and concerned, and I was wondering if you've observed this too, or if you have any thoughts on how we might best approach it together. My only goal is to have a loving and respectful relationship with her." This opens the door for dialogue rather than defense. Be genuinely open to listening to their perspective. They live with the child day in and day out and may have insights into the behavior's context, triggers, or underlying causes that you're unaware of. They might already be implementing strategies at home. Ask questions like, "How do you usually handle this when it happens at home?" Or, "Is there anything you think might be contributing to this?" Show respect for their role as the primary caregivers. Avoid criticizing their parenting style directly. Instead, focus on finding common ground. What shared values do you have regarding respect and behavior? Can you agree on a few key expectations or boundaries that can be applied consistently in both homes? For example, agreeing on rules around respectful language, screen time limits during visits, or helping with cleanup. Consistency is powerful for children. Reiterate your support for them as parents and your love for your grandchild. Make it clear you want to be part of the solution, not just point out problems. Thank them for their time and willingness to discuss a sensitive topic. This collaborative approach reinforces that you are a team working towards the same goal, raising a well-adjusted, respectful child within a supportive family network. Consider Diane again, who collaborated with her daughter Sarah about 7-year-old Ben's behavior. By approaching Sarah supportively and asking about strategies, they agreed on consistent rules for tablet use and cleanup during visits. This wasn't about Diane imposing her will, but about aligning their approaches for Ben's benefit. When Ben visited next, Diane gently reminded him of the agreed-upon rules, saying, "Remember what Mommy and I talked about? Tablet away during dinner, okay?" Because it was presented as a united front, Ben was more compliant. Diane also made sure to praise him enthusiastically when he followed the rule. This consistency, achieved through respectful collaboration with Sarah, significantly reduced the disrespectful pushback Diane had previously encountered, making visits more enjoyable for everyone. Working together, when necessary and appropriate, can be the key to navigating persistent challenges effectively. Dealing with disrespect from a grandchild is undoubtedly challenging and can stir up complex emotions. It requires a delicate balance, the wisdom to understand without excusing, the courage to set boundaries without alienating, the consistency to model respect authentically, the heart to connect through shared joy, and the humility to collaborate with parents when needed. It's a journey, not a destination, and it demands patience and perseverance. Remember the immense positive influence you have. Your role is unique and irreplaceable. By choosing constructive, thoughtful responses over reactive ones, you not only address the immediate behavioral issue, but also teach invaluable life lessons about empathy, communication, and self-respect. Don't be discouraged by setbacks. Progress often comes in small increments. Celebrate the positive moments, acknowledge the effort, both yours and your grandchild's, and keep nurturing that precious bond. Your love, combined with clear expectations and consistent guidance, is the most powerful tool you possess for fostering a relationship built on mutual respect and enduring affection, a legacy that will enrich both your lives for years to come. What challenges have you faced in this area, and what strategies have you found most helpful? Sharing our collective wisdom can benefit us all, so please feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below.